time. Multiple targets ahead. No one's
Alrighty, so more Warframe. Now this video is somewhat of a request from a subscriber who has asked me a good few times in my last few videos to show off my top 10 loadouts. I think 10 is a little bit too much and would be a really long ass video. So I've settled for my top 5 mission loadouts, which means it does include which frame I'm running with primary, secondary and melee in all 5 different ones. So Newbie Pie, who has asked me the last few times, I haven't ignored your messages, I just needed to see which way to actually approach the video and whether to do a top 5 or top 10. Because I could have just done my top 10 weapon loadouts. That would have meant maybe just doing the top 10 primaries and then doing another one on my top 10 secondaries and top 10 melees, which might be a little bit boring after the first video and then the second video and so on. So I decided maybe to do it this way instead. Now I'm not going to be showing modding or anything like that. This is just basically the setups that I run with. And just before I actually start showing the loadouts, just let me say that this is not a video saying that these are the best weapon loadouts in the game, because that's not the case. Warframe changes so frequently with buffs and nerfs to weapons and new weapons coming along and updates that it'd be kind of hard to make a video on weapons and say, look, these are the best, because next week they might not be. So first up is my fun run setup. Now when I want a bit of a challenge or even just to relax and when I'm not recording, I will run with Loki, Paris Prime, Brack and my dual lickers. Now it is a nice hard hitting setup that has a bit of a fragile frame in it with Loki, and it is a setup that you will see get yourself plenty of red crits with the Paris Prime once you are over that 100% crit chance. Stealth and the dual lickers basically explain themselves. They completely wreak havoc amongst absolutely everything. Anything gets in your way when you're stealthed with these, you will drop them in a heartbeat. The Brack is basically my oh shit button for when I get swamped by enemies. Try to set up out if you do have these weapons and this Warframe. It is really nice and it will bring a bit of a smile to your face, I promise. My second setup is kind of a fully auto setup with my Nyx Soma, AK Stiletto and the dual Karma. Now Nyx is an amazing frame and easily one of my favourites. She was probably my favourite, but I have been using the dreaded Rhino Prime a lot lately, and she's really good for it. Whether it's squad play with groups, her Chaos is really good, or whether it's solo running, she's really good as well. The Mind Control and Chaos, like I said, just make missions easy mode. And my Soma now has 5 polarity slots in it, so I think it's got 3 form on it and it comes with 2 polarities already, so that's the 5, which means I have plenty of room for mods in it and it pretty much melts enemies. The AK Stilettos are also really good accurate auto pistols. Unlike some of the other fully auto pistols that have a lot of bullet spread and not as accurate, these things can kill really nice and fast. And the odd weapon out, I guess, is my dual Karmas. Some might say, why not run with the dual Zorans or the Fang Primes? Well, it's simple. I love the look of the dual Karma. It's for purely aesthetic looks only. I am a vain fucker deep down, and the dual Karmas just really tickle my fancy. That sounded a little bit sordid, really, didn't it? I don't want anything to tickle my fancy. But anyway, my third loadout is Nova, the Penta, the Angstrom and my Dakar Prime. Now as you can see, it is a very explosive setup and one that is very dangerous to the health of my Nova. It is a 4-format Penta which needs no real description. It blows shit up, plain and simple. Enemy level doesn't really matter with this thing, boom and they're dead. The Angstrom is just the same without the 4-former. Unloading a full clip of my Angstrom into a group of enemies is just awesome. And the Dakar Prime is without doubt one of the best melee weapons in the game and easily one of the best looking as well. Like I said, I'm vain. Now it's fast and powerful, but like I said, this setup can kill both enemies and my Nova in a one shot. So if you do run with this setup, then you will need to be really careful. My fourth setup is another bit of a fun setup, even if it is a little bit of a powerful one. The Vauban, the Phage, Embolist and my Arctos Prime. The Vauban is probably the master of infested defense missions, which in case you haven't noticed, infested is my favourite mission type by far. His Vortex combined with both the Phage and the Embolist just feels like shooting practice or even a form of torture. I mean, the enemies can't defend themselves, so they ragdoll into the Vortex and you can basically just poke them with your weapons and there's fuck all you can do about it. The Phage feels a hell of a lot more powerful lately, and I see a lot of players calling it the best weapon in the game, if only the channeling of the beam was a little bit faster. And they are calling it the best on the wiki site and on a few videos that I've seen as well. Now, as for my melee, the Arctos Prime has got really good speed for a polearm, and it's got really nice damage and really nice range to add into the mix, so it can kind of keep enemies at bay at the same time as chopping them in half. So all in all, this is a decent setup, and maybe you should try it out as well if you're running infested. And that kind of leaves my final setup, which I guess you could call it my tryhard setup, which consists of a 2-format Rhino Prime, 4-format Bolto Prime, 2-format Murloc and my Dragon Arcana. Now this is the setup I will run when running high level missions with friends, unless of course they want me to run with something else that will suit the makeup of the group better, like a Nova, a Vauban or a Nyx. My Rhino's health and shield can be maxed if I mod it differently if I needed to. His iron skin gives you that window of safety to either get behind cover or run for your life if you think that there might be a chance that you're going to get put down. Now his roar can be really helpful for other party members as well after casters, and his stomp can be used to ease the pressure on your squad while you finish a wave off even in defence or even if it's a mobile defence. Now the 4-former Bolter Prime drops things in the blink of an eye, it's really fast. Like I said, it's got 5 polarities as well, so much like my Soma, this thing has the 5 polarities. It just feels a little bit more powerful than my Soma at the minute for me, but then again that might be just personal preference. I really like the fact that I can pin bitches to walls, simple as that. The Murloc, like I explained in a previous video, is my secondary of choice. It's basically really good up close and really good at range as well, unlike the Brack which is only good up close. It kind of has damage drop off at range. And the Dragon Nakana is, well, it's the Dragon Nakana. It's the best melee in the game by a mile, and it's awesome looking, and there's not a whole lot else I can say about it. So that's my try-hard setup, the final one, with the Rhino Prime, Bolter Prime, Murloc and Dragon Nakana. But like I said, these aren't the best setups in the game. Although people will have different setups that will suit them better. Some people might like running with the Ogress or with the Dread or whatever else. And by all means, leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think of my setups. Let me know if you have a fun setup or if you have a try-hard setup, which it is. You don't need to give me your top 5 setups. I think that would just be a really long-ass bloody comment. But you can just tell me that this is your favourite setup or this is your favourite fun setup or whatever. And hit that like button as it really helps me out. Hit that subscribe button for more Warframe content and if you haven't already. And as always, thanks very much for watching.